Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name's Jax, and today, every party requires an exit strategy. No matter how much fun you're having, no matter how many friends are there, you need to decide when to leave. And this concept is incredibly important in any area of your life, in relationships, in work, in situations that you might find yourself in. There will be a time to decide that this is where I leave you. And it can be an incredibly difficult process, especially if the situation that you're involved in is a lot of fun, is very exciting, brings you a lot of joy, connects you to people. And it can be a really hard thing to decide that this moment is the moment that you're going to say goodbye. Um, I also want to quickly preface that like I'm this isn't like my goodbye video for YouTube. I just realized as having said all of that you could definitely interpret this as like my way of like leaving or whatever. I'm talking about this as a concept. I have no plans on leaving, barring like heart failure tomorrow morning. But um I just thought I should probably say that right now. But in all seriousness, the idea of when you're at your limit, when the party is getting to the end, you really don't want to be the last one to leave the party. Like that's a rule. That's a rule in club culture. If you didn't club as a child, as a teenager, as a young person, now you know. But seriously, the concept that I'm talking about is really not something that you hear a lot from other people, and it's not necessarily the most fun topic to talk about. It's not the most exciting. It's not very clickbaity. It's not very oh, sorry, one sec. There we go. It's not very sexy, but it's true. You need to decide when you've had enough and why. And I think too many of us put up with bad situations or bad parties, bad relationships for too long because we're afraid of leaving. We're afraid of making that first awkward step of saying like, well, I better be hitting the old dusty trail or whatever you say that's super cringy and cliche. But it's it's hard, and I get it, especially if you're a people pleaser. It can be very hard to put your foot down and say, okay, I'm leaving. But recently I've learned that it's actually much easier, and the biggest hurdle to doing this is your own thought process and your own opinion. You might be thinking you're sitting at some situation that you don't want to be in. You're like, oh man, I've been here forever. I've put in so much effort and I'm done. I'm burnt out. I'm over it. I want to go home. I want to end this situation, whatever it might be. But your head goes, oh no, they're going to get mad at me, or they're going to talk about me when I leave, or they're going to say something like, oh, you're so lame for leaving early, or they're going to make a big deal out of it. And that's what I used to tell myself all the time in these situations. I used to get so angry with myself for wanting to be the first one to leave, or the one to say, okay, guys, like I got to go home. I'm done with this. This is where I leave you. Now I've realized that most people really don't care. It can be a bit of a compliment when people are like, no, don't leave, we're having so much fun and you're making it so much fun. That can feel like a real compliment, and it can make it harder to leave. But at the same time, you have to always leave them wanting more. You have to prioritize what you want to do and your state of mind and how you're doing. And if you're really worried about someone talking behind your back, like if you're the first one to leave, you're like, oh, they're all going to gossip about me. If you really think that, you should find new friends, because your friends should not leave you thinking that. And you should not leave them thinking that they're going to say that about you. Those are not your friends if that is the case. You need to be able to leave a situation, whatever it might be, leave a party, and feel confident that you had fun, that everyone else had fun, and that you're not going to be gossiped about behind your back. And that's just something that you have to learn. It's never as bad as you make it out in your head. And I definitely did this. I would often go to worst case situation. I'll be like, oh, as soon as I leave, they're going to have so much more fun than me. They're going to, change it up and go to some crazy place that I've always wanted to go to. And, I'm going to miss the situation. But part of realizing when to leave and when to exit a situation is feeling comfortable in that choice. You genuinely have to feel good about leaving it. If you hate your job, you hate whatever you're in, learning to feel totally comfortable with leaving it and jumping out and looking for a new job, applying for it. Same with relationships. A lot of people feel very safe in a relationship and they're like, well, at least it prevents me from having to do online dating. You know what's worse than online dating? Being in a relationship that is not good for you. That is far worse than dating. I used to joke about like, well, if your partner, you know, says your name and says please and thank you when they ask for something, stay with them because online dating's that bad. No, it's not. Honestly, I know we all joke about it, and online dating sure has its problems, and finding a new relationship and being single, there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of difficulty to that. But none of it compares to being in a relationship where you do not feel seen or loved or taken care of, or worse, way worse. So please understand that realizing when it's time to leave is absolutely the biggest part of the battle. And once you've really locked that down in your head, all it takes is some honest communication with whatever situation you might be in. You could be at a party at 2 a.m. and decide, you know what, I'm good. I want to go home. I'm going to get the Uber, and you just tell people, guys, I'm burnt out. I've got stuff to do tomorrow, and that's it. They will understand. And if they don't understand, they're not your friends to begin with. And the same with a bad relationship, communicating as honestly as you feel comfortable and just saying, you know what, this started out fun. This started out good. But for these reasons, I'm out. And if they can't accept that, then you run away and change your name and go to Belize. I don't know. But in seriousness, like, get out of bad relationships and do it in a safe way that makes you feel good. I don't think that's too controversial. So guys, I think these are my thoughts for today. Sorry for the unintentional jump scare at the beginning. I hope nobody thought that I was actually going to quit this stuff. I love this stuff. I enjoy it. At some point, I'm sure I will decide that this is where I leave you permanently. But until such time, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.